Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez, two Aztec alums and football season ticket holders who just can't get enough of Aztec sports. Steve, big wins for the basketball team, but an emotional week coming up for the football team.
Louis, happy Thanksgiving. And it's one of those weeks where maybe you can actually take a pause from all of this stuff and think about how grateful we should all be.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you too, and to all our podcast listeners out there. Coming up in this edition of Aztecs All In, Jaedon LeDee shines bright for an Aztec team that is now 4-1 on the season after a stirring overtime win versus Washington in the Continental Tire main event in Las Vegas. Coach Brian Dutcher talks about LeDee's early season dominance, and LeDee shares what's behind it. And the SDSU football program gets set to bid farewell to head coach Brady Hoke in what will be an emotional senior night at Snapdragon Stadium this weekend against Fresno State. Coach Hoke talks about his tenure here at SDSU, and players Jalen, Mayden, and Cedarious Barfield share what they've learned from Coach aside from the X's and O's. But we start with basketball, Steve, and some big honors for Jaedon LeDee, who had a fantastic 3-game stretch.
Yes, he did, and the Aztecs had, as a team, a pretty decent little run there. And it was one of those games, the one we watched last was the championship game against Washington.
What a fantastic game that was, by the way.
How you like to say, it's a fun game. It was entertaining.
It was.
All the while, I would like to have heard, your take. If they had not pulled this out, how would you have described it?
I would have described it as very disappointing, the way they moved the ball around to try to get clock run off, but did not try to score in a 3 or 4 minute stretch toward the end that I thought cost them the game, almost cost them the game.
So you see the distinction between fun and entertaining? What is that? They won, okay? They won
did
the
win.
freaking game. One of the reasons they did, a bigger reason why, was Jaedon LeDee. And understand that he picked up a few little awards in addition to helping the Aztecs host that championship belt.
Early season awards, Steve. It's great to hear Mountain West Conference Player of the Week, ESPN National Player of the Week, NCAA March Madness Player of the Week, and Lute Olson National Player of the Week. In those 3 games this past week, he averaged 28.7 points, 12 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 2 steals, and a block in 3 games. He also shot 57%, including 50% from 3, and his 86 points in a 3-game stretch are the most since Jamal Franklin scored 84 in 2012. So Coach Brian Dutcher was asked about LeDee's early season success and what's behind it.
He's been great. I mean, obviously, he walks the line as being a really good offensive player of playing for himself and then playing for his teammates. And a lot of times, point guards are the ones that walk that line because they have the ball so much, and that's Malachi Flynn. There'd be times I thought early in the games he'd be wide open, but he wouldn't shoot the ball. He'd just pick and choose. He'd get his teammates involved, and then he'd take over a game. And I think Jaedon has to play the same way. Even though he's not a point guard, he has the ball like a point guard a lot of times away from the basket, and he's going to have to continue to grow his playmaking and ability to go along with his really good scoring. I mean, he was ready to do this last year, but I just didn't feel we needed him to be so aggressive last year with the team we had. I thought we had a lot of pieces, balanced scoring. Matt Bradley was a capable scorer, and we had other defenders in there, and Jaedon was capable of doing this last year. And I've told everybody I was one of the reasons I held him back a little bit because I thought he was pressing too hard. Early in the year, we're sitting there in the office going, well, whose spot is Jaedon going to take? I was anticipating he'd be a starter at the start of the year last year, and it didn't work out. We started Keyshawn and Nate and started rolling along and playing good, and I thought Jaedon was dangerous off the bench as a scoring threat. It's an NBA model. Your second unit, we brought in Seiko and Jaedon and AG, and my goodness, our second unit was dynamic, and we grew all the lead. And he was a big part of that because he assumed that offensive role with that second unit. And so this year he's in a more prominent role. He was capable of doing a lot of this last year, but the dynamics of the team were different.
Jaedon LeDee is logging a lot of minutes for this team. So far, he's averaged 35 minutes a game, and he continues to put pressure on the opposing team's big men, and that gets him trips to the free throw line, where he is 77% on the season. And he talked about how he gets to the line against these bigs. In addition, Lewis, during our interchanges of the Washington game, he noted the Aztecs surrendered points on 11 straight possessions towards the end of that second half. And that would have flipped the script a little bit. We would not be talking about a fun and entertaining game at all. We'd be talking about something else, right? Anyways, the Aztecs did manage to pull that one out. Asked LeDee about what the process was and the conversations that went on while Washington was on that seemingly unstoppable run, and what flipped it around.
The coaches give us a pretty good game plan on who we're going to play. I mean, I'm going to just be aggressive and I think being aggressive, just you get fouls sometimes. But the coaches do a good job telling us, like last game, for instance, those bigs on Washington were very athletic. So getting them in the paint and getting them in the air, stuff like that, they give us little tips and tricks. Yeah, they went on a good run, and then we just kind of weathered the storm. But yeah, we just stuck to our game plan, I feel like.
As for Dutcher on the defensive side of the ball, he noted his starting players may have been on tired legs. It was their second game in 2 days. Players were logging 30, 40 minutes a game, he said. And he said he saw his guys in a defensive stance and then get run right by. He did mention forward J. Powell and guard Miles Byrd as guys he will be looking toward in future games as they gather more experience to contribute minutes and perhaps get a bit of the load off the starting rotation. And that goes for the rest of the Aztecs that are on the bench and not starting. They're also out there putting their minutes in and contributing, and maybe they can step up that as they progress into the season.
How close was it to being a walk-off loss had the Washington player made 2 free throws and not just one? We'd be talking about this game a lot differently. San Diego State played exceptionally well. Darrion Trammell continues to play off the bench. Last year, he started every San Diego State game, and that may soon be the case again. Coach Dutcher was asked about Trammell getting into the starting lineup, and he says players have to work their way into the starting lineup. But I got the sense, Steve, that Trammell would be there as soon as he gets his game back up. He's not quite up to speed as he was last season. That's especially true from the free throw line, where he missed 2 free throws as well this weekend.
Yeah, it's another one of those situations and another one of those players that you do want to get into the rotation and log more minutes. Getting back to that whole sequence where the Aztecs surrendered that lead and seeming the blinking of an eye, Dutcher also noted there were no live ball turnovers, but there were these violations on inbounding the ball. There were a couple of jump balls that he thought may have been fouls, and the players felt we're going to get fouls, but he told his players, you're not going to get those calls at the end. So you just got to be stronger with the ball and play through it.
Yeah, this type of game is really going to prove to be very beneficial as the season progresses. To be in an extremely tight game, in an overtime game that you pull out after it seemed like you were going to give it away is really a great situation to be in this early in the season.
And that was a tight game at the end. The Aztecs were able to pull it out, and they did it with defense. Keon Brooks Jr. had the ball, the Huskies' leading scorer, and there he was working against LeDee, and who swept in but Butler for the steal, and gets it down to the end of the court, finds Waters. Waters gets fouled. A couple of free throws, pushes the lead to 3. That seals the victory. So, yeah, very tournament-like game.
Yeah, and the Aztecs not jumping back into the top 25. They are 29th in the AP feed, and if you follow the Aztec forums, Aztec fans are up in arms that they're not back in the top 25 this week, but it's a long season, and I say patience, fans. What do you think, Steve? Patience.
I say we get a head football coach in, and then I say also, even though, yeah, that's basically what fans are going to do. They're going to clamor and be fanatical about it. Relax and enjoy the Thanksgiving break and the Aztecs' 4-1 record in men's basketball at this point in the season.
Let's move on to football, Steve. Aztecs versus Fresno State this Saturday, senior night, Snapdragon Stadium. Brady Hoke's final game as San Diego State coach, and he was a bit reminiscent during today's media availability, answering a lot of questions about his tenure here at San Diego State, and even when he started coaching here the first time, huh?
Today, there were absolutely no questions from the media about this week's opponent. Who are they playing again?
I don't remember. Oh, yeah, Fresno State.
Fresno State, and it's for the old oil can. And the first 10,000 fans in the stadium get a beanie, so I want one.
Don't be late, Steve. Don't be late, because we have to get the beanie.
Right. In the meantime, the coaching search continues for the Aztecs, so there was no immediate word on that front today. But also here there's a new manager somewhere else in town. That's probably something sucking the oxygen out of the whole Aztecs situation. But head coach Brady Hoke did run down the issues from the previous game, and we have noted many of them. They've been consistent throughout the season. But the one question that arose, in addition to the dichotomy between a 12-2 season playing at Carson and this one, which has just one conference win and 3 wins overall, the question came from Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, because this is not Brady Hoke's first trip to the Aztecs. It's his second time around, and he did turn around a team, won 4 games that first season, second season won a bowl game and got the Aztecs into the Poinsettia Bowl against Navy. So that was the beginning of a long run of success for the Aztecs. And the question was, how'd you do it?
We just went to work and do what we believed in, from a character and the culture of the guys we wanted to recruit. Because, that to me is important. And then if you have the right guys, I think, Aaron Wellman came in the weight room and did some really good things for us and taught some guys who are now strength coaches. But I think, all that and that staff most of them had gone through what we went through at Ball State before they came here. And one of them, Eddie Faulkner, is now the OC for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Eddie was on our staff at Ball State, and he's from Muncie and played at Wisconsin. But it was the same attitude, Hack, that we're going to be as tough as we can and play our hearts out for each other.
Ask any Aztec player on the team, and they'll tell you Coach Hoke isn't just a great leader in the football sense, but he's also a great leader of men. And today, during the media availability, quarterback Jalen Mayden and defensive back Cedarious Barfield talked about what they've learned from Coach Hoke, but not just from the X's and O's standpoint, but also just from life.
For me, it's always to take advantage of the opportunity. Me and him have had our personal talks, and it's always been about the opportunity that I have in front of me and whether I'm going to take it or not. And I really appreciate him, because every time that I went to him, he's always given me something positive. Obviously, he's going to get the hard coaching, but always telling me to look for the opportunity and just take advantage of it.
I'd say really just in life, you're going to have a lot of things that knock you down and everything like that outside of the football field. But just continuing to fight, we're blessed to, have another day, another opportunity to get better and whatever it is. And he says, a lot of people wish they were in our shoes, so we may lose a couple of games and stuff like that, but that's not the worst thing that could, happen to us in life. And so he just teaches a lot. He's, I feel as though, been a great mentor and, allowing boys to become men.
Hoke was asked what sort of team is he leaving behind. He feels that the Aztecs have some good players in the pipeline. He says he's had the opportunity to look at the sophomore group and the freshman group that haven't played a whole lot this season and said, yeah, this guy's going to be good. We got 18 of these guys on scholarship. I think this guy might need some work somewhere else, but that is going to be a decision that's going to be up to the incoming coach, whoever that person may be. And those players are all going to be able to start with a fresh slate. Next season, it will be a whole new slate, and we will be looking forward to that after we get past this Fresno State game.
Yeah, Fresno State, final game of the season for San Diego State. And, of course, the Aztecs trying to send Brady Hoke off with a win. But on the other side, Fresno State trying to end the season on a positive note. They're 8-3 overall, 4-3 in the Mountain West. But their Mountain West championship opportunity disappeared last week. Surprisingly, Stephen, a loss to New Mexico. So that leaves them 4-3 in the Mountain West. And obviously they're going to go to a bowl game, but they want to send Coach Jeff Tedford out with a regular season win for their team.
And for Coach Tedford, I've seen some talk about, and I can't really imagine this because that's a program that's got a lot of stability, about he may be someone who's on the hot seat after this sort of situation, but they are now playing with a redshirt sophomore quarterback, Mikey Keene, who has done a serviceable job for them, but has also been prone to interceptions. So the Aztecs will get an opportunity to see what they can do, and it's one of those games that's a rivalry game. It is for the old can. These teams have gone at it each year, so hopefully we'll get a semi-interested crowd there with their beanies on to see what sort of a fun and entertaining game comes up. That's sort of the theme for today, Lewis, if you haven't guessed already.
Yes, for San Diego State, this will wrap up. I don't know if you knew this, Steve. It's 101st season of football. I don't believe we've been there for all of them, but we've seen many of them.
Yeah, and I got a cheap shot since you teed that one up. Yeah, it's their 101st season of football, but they've been playing the game this year like they've never played. I don't mean that, guys.
I set you up.
They have fought very hard, and a lot of these games could have gone either way, but that was just one of those, you put that ball up there on the tee, and I took a whack at it with my driver.
Well, kickoff 7:30 Saturday, Snapdragon. Hope the fans get out there and wish Brady Hoke good luck.
Okay, with that, we'll wrap up this edition of Aztecs All In. Don't forget to check us out on the X, where sounds like you've been posting diligently from today's news conference. So you can catch little tidbits here and there at the Aztecs All In X account, Aztecs_all_in. And you can also drop us a line at our Gmail, aztecsallin@gmail.com. So for Lewis Weiner, I'm Steve Perez saying thank you once again for checking us all out on Aztecs All In, where we're always all in.